All right. Let's rock. Baldy, how you doing, my man?
What's up, fellas? It's been a while. You're doing good.
It has. You at the airport right now?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you're on, let me guess, you're on your way to Seattle because you've had enough of the Browns and all these lucky wins they keep getting, and you'd like to go talk to them about it.
Well, I did see the Browns last week in Indianapolis, and it helped that they got 2 pass interference penalties in the end zone. Seemed like they were on the 1-yard line for about 10 minutes, but they finally punched it in to get the win. But you'll take it any way you can get it in this business.
And in this business, Baldy, is it a week-to-week thing? Because the Browns' defense looks so dominant against the Niners, and then the shoe, as I like to call him, Gardner Minshew, the shoe carved him up, and they got bailed out. What's the deal with this league and a defense as good as Cleveland going from dominant to recessive in 1 week?
It's unbelievable, honestly, because I talked to the defense coordinator, Jim Schwartz, 20 minutes, down the field before the game, and he was, he was all rainbows, and, we're on our way, and we've got all the pieces, and nobody plays man coverage like us, and the Colts put up 455 yards on them and 38 points, and if Minshew doesn't get the ball knocked out of his hands, on a couple of occasions by Myles Garrett, working on basically rookie tackles, then, they don't win that game. So it's week to week. It's week to week. 49ers look like they were out in front of everybody in this business, and you lose 2 in a row in this game. I don't care what team you are. The sky's falling. And right now, I'm sure the 49ers feel like the sky's falling.
So, Baldy, that means they need to win this weekend, and they do not know who will be quarterbacking the team. So, Brock Purdy practiced today. Let's put that aside for a second. If Sam Darnold plays, do you feel like there will be a drop-off? What do you think we'll see?
I think there'll be a drop-off, not because Sam can't play at the level that Brock has, that we have seen, just that he hasn't played really since, the end of the season last year in Carolina, where he finished strong. Look, he played the last 6 games for Carolina. I saw him in one of the games against Tampa. He got him back into the playoff picture to the very end. He won 4 of his last 6 starts, and he played well. But he hasn't played since then. I mean, preseason doesn't really count. And so it's just been so you just don't know at what point does he get in the rhythm. Does the team respond the same way that they have to Brock? Is it different? Do different guys get do they get the attention from Sam differently than Brock? Like, it's going to look different just because a different guy is seeing the defense in a different way, and he's deciding where he wants to go with the ball. And so it's going to look different, and I'd be surprised if it's going to be as good as what we've seen from Brock outside of a couple throws.
You mentioned rhythm, Baldy, and what has happened to the rhythm of this offense? They've struggled to run it, and Brock Purdy's looked a little bit mortal, to lack of a better way to describe it, over the last couple of weeks.
It's hard to put your finger on just one thing. I mean, you turn the ball over 3 times, in limited number of possessions. I think they only had 8 possessions last week because Minnesota, that was so good on third downs, they possessed the ball for a long time. So if you turn it over on 3 of the 8 and then you have 1 you turn over on downs, like, you're not getting, and then the opening drive, you're driving and you fumble it. Like, you're just not helping yourself out at all. So that's one thing. Nobody's going to be as good if you don't have Trent Williams in the lineup or Debo in the lineup. I mean, those are 2 elite players, and I don't care who's taking their place. Everybody says next man up. That's fine. I don't believe that they're as good if those 2 guys aren't in the lineup, regardless of who's taking their place.
Brian Baldinger with us here, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Baldy, maybe go back to film that you've watched when Sam Darnold did play. Like, when you watched him with the Jets and the Panthers, what did you see? Who was this player's strengths and weaknesses?
Well, he's a very good athlete. He can get out of harm's way. He runs real well. He knows, he understands when the pocket is collapsing and how to escape. He's pretty good like that. I think he can make all the throws. I've been around Sam. We taught at football camp in Maui one year. I was around the guy. Like, he knows the game. He's a good student of the game. He's never been in a good organization. He's never been in an organization that knew how to build an organization. And so this is new for him, to be in San Francisco where, they just know how to stack elite players and they're pretty well coached. So, I mean, it's new for him, what he's being given right now, if he's allowed to play, if he does play. And so I think he's learned a lot even if he's been in the league a long time. I think he's learning a lot in San Francisco. And I thought from the moment they signed him in free agency that regardless of what happened, he would beat out Trey Lance. I didn't know Trey would get traded, but I thought he would beat him out just because of experience. And, the one knock on him, and it's a legit knock, is he turned the ball over a lot at USC. He looked like he kind of got over that hurdle, but not completely over that hurdle. Ball security has been an issue. The ball has come out of his hands by different pass rushers, and he has thrown untimely interceptions at times. And so both those kind of plague him to this day.
When you look at Sam Darnold in place of Brock Purdy potentially this weekend, what would you look at that Sam can do that's better than what Brock has done so far?
Well, he's taller. He's taller. Not that, height is everything, but, he's got an over-the-top release. You're probably going to see the ball quicker than what you see it from, if you're a receiver down the field, if you're Kittle or, Ayuk, whatever, you might see the ball released a little bit better, just because it's coming from a higher point. I'm not saying that's a big deal. It might not be at all, but receivers will tell you otherwise, one way or the other. But, I think that's that. And then, he's good going to his left. If he gets flushed to his left, he's always been good running to his left and making throws. That's part of his athletic makeup. One of the things that would get you excited. He can throw it from any platform. And he's a guy he's a tough guy. He's taken his share of hits. He's been injured in this business. He's come back from injuries. He's not a guy that's going to flinch in the pocket if it gets dirty, if it gets muddled, if he gets free hitters coming at him. Lou Anarumo on the other side in Cincinnati is an excellent defensive coordinator. They'll send a lot of corner blitzes and slot blitzes in this game. They always do. And so, he's got to be able to see that. And then if they do get through, he's got to be able to stay in there and take his lumps and still deliver the ball.
Baldy, you mentioned the fact that Darnold has been in bad situations before, and this is what we hear always about Sam, which is, hey, well, this is a perfect situation. But I feel like when people say that, what they meant in their mind's eye was, yeah, it's Kyle Shanahan's system, and it's Christian McCaffrey, and then there's Debo, and there's Trent Williams, and it's like, no, there is no Debo, and there might not be Trent Williams. So this particular weekend, if Sam plays, is it still a great situation? How would you compare it to the situation we thought we were talking about?
Well, look, if it's Sam, okay, and you've lost 2 in a row and you've got a bona fide opponent coming in, a playoff-tested opponent coming back from a bad start with a quarterback that looks healthy, coming off a bye week, you're going to get the best of the Bengals. You beat the Bengals and you stop the bleeding. It doesn't matter how they do it or what they do. Sam's going to get credit for it. And he's immediately going to get thrown into, man, we're in good shape at the quarterback position. If he goes out there and he lays an egg and you lose 3 in a row, all hell's going to break loose. And Kyle's going to be under the microscope. That's what happens in this business. So I think it can go either way for Sam. He could be the hero here and get them back on track and especially if Trent and Debo don't play. Like if he finds his way to just get Kittle dozen touches and a couple touchdowns and, McCaffrey looks like McCaffrey like we saw the first 5 weeks of the season, more power to him.
And if Sam Darnold comes out and plays well and they beat Cincinnati and Brock's unable to play, tell me, Baldy, that we're still not anywhere near a quarterback controversy, right?
No way.
Okay.
No, that's not going to happen. Like, no way John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan would even invite that. If that question you get asked, this weekend after the game and the 49ers win and Kyle gets asked that question, I just imagine right now that he would shut it down immediately and said Brock is our starter as soon as he gets in there.
Well, speaking of things that Kyle Shanahan says in front of a microphone, Baldy, it is not often, no matter the scenario, it is not often in this league that a head coach straight calls out another coach on his staff and says he messed up at a press conference. Kyle Shanahan did that yesterday with Steve Wilks because of the zero blitz play right before the half that led to the Jordan Addison touchdown. What is your thought on that? Says to me that there's something going on here, and this defense that Saleh and D'Amico ran is now not blending so well with Steve Wilks. What is your thought on that? What do you see with this defense?
Well, if I was Kyle, I wouldn't have said that. But it's hard not to already know it. It's not like he has to come out and say it. It was a horrendous call. And it was so un-49er-like. They're never a max blitz team. They're never a blitz zero team. Never. Like, they might add Fred Warner to a blitz. They might bring the slot defender off. But they rely on their front four. That's what they've done under Saleh. That's what they did under D'Amico. And that's who they are. And so to see them even line up in that, with especially considering the circumstances, 16 seconds ago, no timeouts. I mean, even if you get home, so what? The half's going to end. Like, you're not going to do anything. Like, it just didn't make, like, you just play an umbrella, let them complete a ball if they want. You tackle them in bounds, you're all running into the locker room and getting orange slices. Like, it's just that simple. To give up that kind of a play in that situation, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's unforgivable, but it makes no sense.
And Baldy, I'm looking at the replay again and again, and even though they went zero blitz, quote unquote, 3 of the guys didn't even get near the line of scrimmage. It felt like there was confusion even in the call from the defense.
That might have been true. I didn't look at it that closely. You might be right about that. I'll have to go back and take a look at that part. I just saw them all lined up there, and I just saw, Travarius out there one-on-one with Jordan. And, it's a wrestling match out there. But, like, why would you even invite that ever in that situation? Not to have a free safety back there in case something like that would happen on the outside? Like, none of it strategically, under any circumstances, makes any sense. It's 10-7.
Yeah.
You haven't played great. You've turned the ball over. Go to halftime, make your corrections, and come out and own the second half.
Baldy, I think what you're saying about that specific play is great. I wonder, what are your thoughts on the bigger picture? In other words, if you've been watching this defense on film, you know this. They have not been as good this year. And so you've got a defensive coordinator coming in who usually likes to do things a different way, and the blend right now is not happening. So what is it you see that the problem is, and what is the fix? Is it fixable?
Well, the problem I see, number one, is the defensive line. Like, I thought Javon Hargrave was the best signing in free agency. I thought he was the best free agent available. He's had very little impact. And I thought he was going to line up next to Nick Bosa, and they were going to play these two-man games, twist stunts, and I thought they were going to crush the pocket, and they have not done that. Nick doesn't look like Nick right now to me. Like, he's making plays, but he's not changing the game with plays. He's not getting the ball out of quarterback's hands. He's not getting enough. And as a group, they're not playing well. And so I think that's where it starts. I mean, and then, even if you look at Josh Dobbs and you look at the game against the Rams, and you look, like, they're carving their zones up. The ball's coming out quick. They're hitting their zones. And, yeah, Fred's making a ton of tackles and Dre's making a ton of tackles, but they're moving the ball against their zones. And so, but that starts up front where the quarterback just can't be allowed to, like, decide where to go with the ball. He shouldn't have time, typically, against a 49er front. And you just haven't seen the impact of that front so far.
And you've got a quarterback coming in who started to find his footing, pun intended, Joe Burrow, looking more healthy, and an offense that looks a little bit more like we thought they would at the start of the year. How big a problem does this Bengal offense pose for this Niner D?
Well, I don't think the offensive line is very good. And so they're going to get a chance to hit Joe Burrow and affect Joe. Now, I think he's much healthier. It was Jamar Chase 3 weeks ago. They came out and said, I'm open. I'm always bleeping open. And he's dominated the league in the last 2 games. I mean, dominated the way very few receivers can. And he truly is always open. And Joe Burrow is healthier, and he's moving much better, and he's had another week to get ready. So you're going to see the best of the Bengals passing game. I'm not a big fan of their offensive line. I know who all the guys are. I think they're set up so that Joe's going to get pushed pretty good here if they play at their best. But if they don't, if they continue to let what Kirk Cousins did the other night, where he goes 45 pass attempts and you don't get him to the ground once, like, if you play like that against Joe Burrow, like, he's gonna hand your head to you.
Hey, Baldy, rightfully so. We're all very sensitive about concussions now. However, if Brock Purdy is cleared, and is cleared, let's say, the day before the game, do you have any issue with him playing?
No, I don't. I mean, there's a lot of things in place so that we don't see what happened to Tua again, and that's good. But there has been a lot of players that have been cleared this year on Saturday and played Sunday. And because, whatever the issue was that caused the concussion, it's been it has cleared up. It's different in different players. Symptoms last longer. Bruises are bigger. Not all concussions are the same. I would have a problem with him playing if he gets cleared.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets cleared, and it would be a short week considering he comes off of.
Probably won't see any like quarterback sneaks or anything like that. If he gets cleared, he might.
Yeah.
You might have to give the ball to the running back, so he doesn't take those kind of hits.
Exactly, and he got hurt allegedly on a quarterback sneak that wasn't necessarily the brotherly shove as we've all come to know it as. What do you think of that play, Baldy, in terms not only of injury but also of the aesthetics of pro football?
I'm not a big fan of the play, but in Philadelphia, I mean, it's gotten a lot of attention, and rightfully so, over the last 2 years. But even before that, before there was Jalen Hurts and the shove, I mean, Carson Wentz went 34 or 36 on quarterback sneaks. I mean, this Jason Kelsey is different than everybody else that snaps the ball. Like, his ability to get movement, to get leverage, to get the play started is unmatched. And then if you look at both Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, like, these guys, one of the big thing about the shove is you can't get to the quarterback's legs. And so they protect both those guys' legs, and they can keep pushing, and they're very big and strong. And so that's a big part of the success that other teams don't have. Quarterbacks aren't built like that, and they don't have a center that starts to play like that.
Baldy, great stuff. As we mentioned, you're on your way to Seattle, a team that is now suddenly only a half game behind the 49ers. Are they a threat this year? What do you think?
Yes, and here's why. Because Pete Carroll is never afraid to play young players. He's got rookies at center, right guard, left corner, at both receiver spots last week, and they all played great. And they're only going to get better. They're making whatever mistakes Oluwatimi made at center or anybody else. Like, Pete's willing to live with that because he knows they're the right players, the right type of players, and they're going to get better. And so I think this is a team that's got a big upside to it.
Baldy, safe flight, man. Thank you so much for hopping on with us.
Yep, my pleasure, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, we definitely will. There he is. Brian Baldinger, a lot to chew on there.